My name's Chris Bond. I'm the horticulturist here at Case Western Reserve University Farm. My primary role is to oversee the food production program here, which is new as of 2010. We started looking into the possibility of growing food here in 2009. We had some interest from not only the student population, some faculty, staff, Bon Appetit, the food service provider on campus. We want to be an educational farm that produces, that's able to produce using environmentally sound means. I mean, we don't use any pesticides, herbicides. In the greenhouse, we rely pretty much heavily on other beneficial insects to combat some of the nuisance species, or other organic methods outside. It's a lot of hand pulling of weeds. We don't spray any weeds. We're trying to find as much of an academic component to this as we can. I mean, we do want to be successful in our production. We do want it to be sustainable in the sense that we're able to generate enough income from the sale to pay for the program, to pay for the labor, because that's as much a part of sustainability as the environmental impact component, because if you have to subsidize it, then it's not really working. The Case Western Reserve is more known for biomedical research and as a good law school, and certainly not an agriculture school by any stretch of the imagination. Now, historically, this farm, and even when it was part of the university, did engage in agriculture. It was part of the Western Reserve University before it federated with Case, and the Women's College specifically, which was Flora Stone Mather, did use this property to practice botany and agriculture, and it was very much a component of their curriculum, but that fell out of favor in practice sometime probably in the 1960s. So we're trying to incorporate it into a lot of the curricula on campus. We've had several meetings and already interest with the nutrition department, with biology department, even history department, as far as maybe making it a component of some look into agricultural communities. You can include anthropology in there to some degree, but primarily it seems to be a viable connection and component of many different biology classes and nutrition. Now, also at Case, there's the Weatherhead School of Management, which is a business school, and there's certainly a role for them to play in here as we move forward. With a little help from Bon Appetit as far as some startup funding and some research we did on our part to see the feasibility of growing food here and delivering it to campus, we're able to start this program in February is when I started seeding our first crops, and we were able to do our first harvest, as minuscule as it was, the middle of March. It was more symbolic than anything that we were able to finally produce something here on property of Case Western Reserve University and send it to the campus proper for use to serve to the students there, faculty and staff. And every week since then, we've been able to send produce, and we've grown exponentially. The first week being about 1.5 pounds of miscellaneous greens and herbs. To 2 weeks ago was our peak, and we had about 900 pounds, where we sent a lot of squashes, zucchinis, tomatoes, still doing a lot of greens and herbs. We sent a lot of basil up to campus. That's greater than anything we expected our first year. We're only growing on 2 patches of land that are each less than 1/4 acre. We're expanding. We've tilled some areas around that. We hope to be able to do almost 2 full acres next spring. Now, again, that's not restricted by the land, but it's restricted by labor. We rely very much on student labor, and mostly volunteer student labor. I always get very good responses. Students are very into supporting this program for any number of reasons, primarily because they're going to eat some of that food, I presume. So I've been fortunate that I can always get that kind of response from them. Now, we have had some paid student labor too, especially over the summertime. We've had some students funded by grants, various programs like the VISTA program, which is part of AmeriCorps. That is our biggest restriction moving forward. So besides the up to 2 acres that we've started to prepare, as you see behind me, we have the high tunnel, which we're hoping will allow production and harvest later into the year than we'd normally be able to experience, and maybe even year-round, depending on how well that's able to keep the ground heated. How mild the winter is, I'm sure, plays a role in that too. And then hopefully we'll be able to plant earlier in the spring by using that. The thing we're expanding to next year is the production of honey and beekeeping. We were fortunate to have a beekeeper in Cleveland Heights, which is a suburb of Cleveland, partway between here and the main campus. This gentleman does it as a hobby, but saw what we were doing here with our food production and volunteered to come out and donate some hives and his expertise and consultation, and we've purchased some honey equipment, so we hope to be doing that next year. We hope to expand a little bit into maple syrup production possibly in conjunction with another private school nearby that is already in the business of doing that. And ultimately, the sky's the limit as far as what we could do here, given that we have the resources mostly in labor. Now we have the land, like I said, we have the buildings, we have the tractors, we have the interest. Certainly, we just have to be able to coordinate all that labor to continue to grow and to make sure that we have a market for everything that we produce. So.